Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another Coffee with the Community. My name is Dallas Ackerman. I am the Director of Communications in Liberty Public Schools, and so fortunate to be joined by several guests this month as we continue this series virtually this semester. And speaking of virtual, I'm joined by Dr. Jeanette Westfall, who will introduce herself as she has been so instrumental in our Liberty Virtual School this semester. And I'm going to go ahead and not only welcome her, I'm going to have her introduce herself and then some members of her team that have joined us via Zoom here today. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Dallas. And welcome everyone to Coffee of the Community for November. My name is Jeanette Westfall, and I am this Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Design for Liberty Public Schools. And with me today, I just want to introduce staff who have been very instrumental and critical to the success of Liberty Virtual Schools. So first, let me introduce and wave at Ashley Duvall. Hi, Ashley. And she is our elementary lead for Liberty Virtual Schools. Second, that on our camera is actually Tracy Crott. So she is our instructional lead. And hi there, Tracy. Thank you for joining us today. And then last but not least, our secondary lead, Ms. Tara Harvey. So Tara's right there in order. And we're just really excited to share this time with you for the month of November. I do, before we move on to our talks today, the four of us want to acknowledge one other person who has been instrumental in our work with Liberty Virtual School, and that is my administrative assistant, Mrs. Dawn Waters. So Dawn, if you're out there, we just want to tell you we couldn't do this without you. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll just move on today with some conversation. We're going to share the talk and just kind of interact with you. One of the things that's great about virtual school is that we've all been able to work through Zoom and try to figure out how we can make the learning experience really rich and I think just a part of the life that we have. And so we're just practicing that with you today. So thank you for your grace and patience. So we're just going to move on and start talking about Liberty Virtual School. And really, I'm going to turn this over to Tara, and she's just going to talk about Liberty Virtual School and our goals from the very beginning when we started back in July. Tara?
Thanks, Jeanette. We have had an amazing journey. It has been incredible to see us work together to build something that was a real viable option for families to be able to choose a virtual experience for their students during this time. Because we're living through history, and while we have tremendous challenges, we've also tried to incorporate tremendous opportunities. Tracy and I have been teaching Liberty virtual classes for the last couple of years, so we were completely convinced and cheerleaders for you can teach and learn online, and it can be an amazing experience for students. And Ashley worked closely with her respective buildings, watching elementary teachers do amazing things with their kiddos in the virtual environment during the quarantine. So we knew we could offer a choice that was rigorous and had quality experiences. Just while some people decided to just take a pause from going into their homeschool, but still keeping that connection. I'm at Liberty North as the instructional coach, and our kids who have chosen virtual are no less an Eagle. I know that's true for, Blue Jays across the district. The same thing at the elementary level. So our goals started by, we wanted to work with our teachers in July and get them ready to go. So we dug deep for a solid week about aligning our learning management system K-12, which was a really powerful thing. We knew that we would have parents at home that had multi-level kids from elementary and a kid from middle, and maybe a high schooler as well. We wanted them to see the same platform. So we worked with our teachers on getting ready for an entire week, and that was fantastic. We'll talk more about all these things, but we built a schedule that would fit the virtual learner. We have been iterating the entire time through the amazing feedback of our parent partnerships. And we have seen our um, our community flux a little. We've had students who have stayed in a completely virtual environment. We've had a little bit of a mix of a hybrid. We've had some of just about everything. I feel like if there's a combination of a way you can do school, like we're figuring it out as we go, and we've done that through the communication with our stakeholders.
That's perfect, Tara. How about, do you mind sharing a little bit of the details about how many kids and staff are involved in Liberty Public Schools, virtual school?
Absolutely. It's quite incredible. Our virtual school is the size of some school districts in Missouri. Our virtual school has over 2,000 students in it. And, we've got 100 teachers. It's quite an undertaking. 25% of our students wanted to start in that virtual platform, which again was why we wanted to make it an experience that was quality, and we could put the LPS stamp on, because that is something that we feel passionate about. Like when you get a Liberty Public School education, it is going to be rigorous and quality. So we are the size of some entire districts in just our virtual school. It's pretty incredible.
It is. Thank you for that. And I think we can turn right now. Tracy, if I could hand this off to you, I really feel like we could tell our story best if we go through that incredible website that you created. So just to let everyone know, Tracy was the brains and the brawn behind this really magnificent website that we are using for Liberty Virtual School. It's where all of our information is, but it also does a really good job of telling our story. So Tracy, let me just toss this to you.
All right, thanks, Jeanette. First of all, this was definitely a labor of love, but it was a combined labor of love. I can't tell you how many times we have spent working with our teachers and these three ladies here with just looking through and diving in and saying, what do our stakeholders want? What information can we put out there? Because we know that going virtual is a big deal, and there are going to be some people who are worried about that, because we've never in the history of Liberty Public Schools had pre-K 12 students all online at the same time outside of the school. And what we really wanted to provide, as Tara was talking about, is that connection to the homeschool, connection to the teachers. Everybody in this school are LPS employees. And then we do, and Jeanette's going to talk about this later, we are using some external sources as well to kind of bridge some of the gaps that we weren't able to provide. But as far as telling our story, which was something we knew we needed to do from the beginning, and it was really great that we've had so much support from Liberty Public Schools, because we were able to start this story and we're building on it. As Tara said, this is an iterative process, and everything that we put on this website, we start out with best intentions, and then we, our main priority is transparency. And as we've gotten feedback from our stakeholders, we listen to our parent community groups, we listen to our teachers, we listen to the kids, the parents who are saying, hey, I want to support my kid. And every time we get those questions coming in, we're making the changes on the website so that we know not everybody's going to have a question between 9 to 5, and it is our job to make sure that we have just-in-time information for people when they need it. So that's one of the things that we're going to do today, is kind of walk you through some of those pieces that we have put out there for everybody to digest. We will be, through the course of this presentation, kind of going along the tabs. So if you get a chance to jump onto the website, you'll kind of get an idea of what we were developing and why we were doing it, and kind of see what we're going about. So let's go ahead.
I launch you into that schedules piece.
Perfect. So we know that when we started looking at the schedules, we were looking at 4 distinctly different groups. We have early childhood, which is pre-K. We have elementary, we have middle level, and we have high school. And we knew that through the course of creating this, in order to keep a connection with our home schools and being able to really ensure that we can use our staff fluidly between the 2 different environments, we had to go really back to the basis and look at what could a schedule look like that's going to drive the learning, and not necessarily let the schedule do all the work. We wanted the learning to be front and foremost. So Tara, I believe you're going to take us off here and talk a little bit about the secondary, and Ashley's also going to talk a little bit about our elementary.
Sure. At the secondary level, we knew that 7 classes a day was not our favorite option. So we went to a block schedule. We built in screen breaks and stretch breaks. And also we wanted to honor our staff that we were sharing with all of our other buildings, because we tried really hard to give all of the students the choices that they want in designing their learning. So we have some dedicated staff, and we also have some staff that are, again, if you can picture, just we'll make anything happen. We really tried hard to get the perfect learning environment for every kiddo, which we really believe that 4 classes a day virtually in an extended period of time was the way to go.
Perfect.
Yeah,
How
and-
about elementary? Yeah.
Yeah, so with elementary, I mean, there was a lot of learning from the spring and what we experienced, but in creating our schedules, we designed obviously with the virtual learner in mind, but also considering effective practices that we utilize in our face-to-face setting. And with that being said, we really thought about the at-home learner, not just making this a replication of school. So there were many elements that we had to consider in this design. For example, you'll notice each day starting with a morning meeting. And this is a time to foster our virtual school community and begin days with what is called a brain smart start. These activities are designed to help learners unite, connect, disengage stress, and make commitments with their learning. This is all based off of brain research from Dr. Becky Bailey with Conscious Discipline. And these are activities that not only take place virtually, but we do these in our face-to-face classroom as well. We've also included brain breaks and body breaks throughout the day, kind of like what Tara said, and especially for our younger learners to relieve frustration and to refresh and refocus. Still talking about the schedule, within the content blocks, we've allowed more time, giving teachers the ability to deliver instruction in different modes as we do in the face-to-face classroom. And at times will be whole group instruction, while other times will be small group that's more beneficial to targeted specific needs. The larger blocks of time also allow for special services to provide their supports to individuals. Also worked into the schedule is our specials classes, so PE, music, art, and library. So specials occur at the same time for all our grades and include, it's a very detailed schedule, and I know that there's been different iterations of that as well, but our specials teachers have provided opportunities for our students to engage in both asynchronous, so those are the pre-recorded lessons, and synchronous live lessons with teachers throughout their days. And then last, with the elementary schedule, you'll notice our time for social emotional learning. We all know that we're in uncertain times and learning obviously looks a lot different right now. And we found it necessary that at the beginning of the year to have this time for students and teachers to engage in lessons to help them learn to manage everyday challenges and emotions. As we move towards second semester, the SEL time will move to the beginning of the day with the morning meeting, and then the science and social studies that's integrated right now in our ELA time will have its own designated time at the end of the day. So that was a kind of a detailed walkthrough through your elementary schedules.
No, that's great. How about talking about the connection to homeschools?
Yeah, so we found it very important for our learners to not only feel a strong sense of belonging to their virtual community, but to also continue the feeling of connection with their homeschool. In the case of a transition back to face-to-face, we wanted that relationship still there. We also felt the continued support from building administrators and counselors was necessary as we support the whole child. So we strive to help our virtual students have that sense of belonging, like I said, with their home school and with their virtual community. School activities such as sports and clubs, they're all still available to all our virtual students.
Perfect. Thank you,
Dr. Westfall.
Ashley. Yeah. So just to run through, really, we've given you the bulk of the things, but we do want to run through the last couple of tabs and just kind of share some of our stories. The first thing we wanted to make sure we included was the difference between a couple of titles that we have, and we know they're super close. And so we just wanted to clear that up, that Liberty Virtual School is really for students who are fully enrolled with us virtually, but we recognized that we had courses that we've been working with in innovation and learning for some time called Liberty Virtual Courses. Those classes are asynchronous, or what we actually don't use in a daily schedule, and we allow our students to choose those classes, whether they're in face-to-face hybrid work or if they're in Liberty Virtual School. So they sound the same, but they're just a tiny bit different, because Liberty Virtual School is school, and you show up for every class period, just like you do in regular school. The Liberty Virtual Courses can be done after school hours or on weekends, and that's the experience that Tracy and Tara were able to share with you, that they also teach those types of courses, even though they work 5 days a week in regular schools. The other thing is we have the option for MOCAP, which we're very proud supporter of, virtual learning through Launch and other different vendors that use that work. We work with our high school counselors to make sure that we schedule students into those courses, to just give them some flexibility in their day and make sure that they're taking the courses that they really are passionate about. The last couple of things, we really wanted to talk about our LVS staff. As you saw in the data that we shared, we have over 100 staff members that are dedicated to LVS. And we just are real passionate about making sure that they're supported. They've done a fabulous job having a short amount of time to become experts in virtual learning. One of the things we know in learning is that the more you practice, the better you get. And at this point in the school, we would tell you they are doing a great job. We appreciate them so much, and we could not say that enough in our presentation. The other thing we wanted to talk about were the resources, because we have a lot of people behind the scenes that constantly support Liberty Virtual School. And so really, Tracy, you want to take it away with this one and talk through those?
Yeah, honestly, we could not do this if we did not have the support from LPS and from Trey Kotzer, the Director of Technology. Honestly, this whole vision stems from years ago when we went one-to-one and starting to change our district into innovative practices, and really putting forth the time, the energy, the money towards increasing our facilities in terms of infrastructure, providing devices for every single student, regardless of their ability to pay for or obtain one of these. It really is an equity thing. And this is something that we love so much about Liberty, is that we want every child who walks through our doors to have an equal opportunity to reach their dreams. And so this is something that is just near and dear to our heart, and we couldn't do it without their support. A couple of things that we do have offered. We have a dedicated help desk. So we have a group of people who are manning telephones during office hours that are able to answer questions from our parents, from our students, from our teachers, whether they're face-to-face or they're virtual. Liberty Virtual also has the opportunity to use student work orders, and then those are given to homeschool. The Liberty Public Schools each have their own dedicated technology specialist, and they're taking care of the kids. They're making sure that their devices work. They're making sure that the filters are working, and without that kind of support towards instructional technology, this just would not be possible. And like we said before, we know issues come up late at night, and this website is going to give you opportunities to dive into standalone tutorials to help troubleshoot things that might possibly be happening, and to really help you feel like you're part of the team, because you are. Jeanette says this all the time, and she says that our parents are learning managers at home, and they're really helping their kids strive to be the best that they can be and learn everything they can. And so now every space is a learning place, and we've just really opened wide the opportunity for kids to be able to thrive in any environment and to continue their learning. And then Jeanette, if you want to go to the next slide, Canvas is our learning platform. So we use this as our learning management system. And one of the things I have to shout out, as Jeanette was mentioning before, is that all of those staff members that have joined us on this journey, every single one of us is learning this year. we are all learning forward. We are all showing kids what it means to be resilient in learning. We're teaching them that not everything is going to go right the first time, but we're going to continue and persevere and build our resilience skills so that we can make sure that we get done what needs to get done. And so Canvas is a place where we are able to organize. We can house all of our instructional materials. Our teachers are collaborating with kids online. We're giving really robust feedback. Parents are able to look in over their shoulders of their children and be able to see where are they, what are they doing, how are they progressing. And we just feel like this is one of those tools which our pre-K-8 teachers hadn't had exposure to last year. So they learned this along the way too. So it's been a really great opportunity, and we're just getting better every single day. That's our plan. Just keep getting better, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, so in addition to the technology resources that Tracy just talked through that make learning accessible, our library media continues to provide access from home to help our learners engage in numerous resources. And not only are digital learning opportunities provided, but our learners are also still able to check out books from our homeschool libraries or through numerous online platforms. We really have tried to make learning from home as easy as it is to learn from school. Dr. Westfall, I think it is back to you.
Yeah, thanks. So just to wrap up, we just wanted to acknowledge a couple of things. One, we couldn't do this work. I apologize if you can hear the sawing, and we are doing a little construction at DAC, and it gets a little loud in the moment. So if you can hear that, just bear with me as I mic and unmic. But we do want to make sure that we thank a really powerful parent partnerships that we have with Liberty Virtual School. We could not do school without our parents working with us. And so really, we have a lot of great tools that are available for families under the For Families tab. And one of the groups that I do want to acknowledge
is our
our
Liberty Virtual School parent
community. They are constantly a support for us and making sure that our message is out there and that our parents are guided in the right direction. So Beth Farr and all the people who are, Allison, that are part of this, we just appreciate you so much. We do want to say that we know our top 3 things that we do get asked about is our learning management system, is the fact that we've chosen to be school virtually, and that really our teachers do work with our kids every day, and that's a part of the commitment that we have and the goal that we set up for ourselves when we started. And last but not least, that we've always really wanted good parent support, and we feel like we finally achieved that goal with our parents who are joining with us and just being flexible and helping us get this right. So thank you to all of you out there that are doing that. We could not do this without the support of our Board of Education, without the support of our building principals, without the support of our innovation and learning coaches, and then of course without the Liberty Virtual staff, and most of all the parents. So here is just those resources again across the tab, the parent information, Canvas, some professional learning that we provided for you. And then one little peek behind the curtain, we do have that LVS staff page. And we just wanted to show you that although parents can't get behind there, community members don't, we have a lot of very rich tools back there for our teachers to see. So here's just a quick look at that before, when you click on it, it'll ask you for your Liberty number. And if you don't have that one, you aren't able to see it. So here's just a quick look to let you know. But we wanted to close by just sharing our next steps for Liberty Virtual School. We are still continuing to partner with our teachers and just get smarter about virtual learning. We recognize with our parent census that many of those virtual school families received, that we may make this a permanent part of what we do. So we're looking at just putting together a proposal for that. Part of what we recognize is that we probably have about 1,000 to 1,500 students that are still really interested in a dedicated virtual school. And we're looking at how to make that possible. Last but not least, we do want to continue our powerful connections with your home school. So even though you're a student that might come to us from Lewis and Clark or Liberty Middle School or one of the high schools, we really do understand how important those connections are, and we intend to continue that. Last but not least, how can we expand our offerings for our high school students so this really is a viable option for students who want to think differently about their high school experience? So again, thank you all for everything that you've done. Thank you for joining us with this coffee with the community. We look forward to having you again. To our Board of Education and to Dr. Tucker, thank you for your constant leadership, for giving us the opportunity to innovate and to just think differently about learning. I want to stop right here and just thank again Ashley Duvall, Tracy Crott, and Tara Harvey for constantly being leaders in this effort, and to Dawn Waters for her support and always taking care of all those details that always matter to a school. So to everyone, have a happy Thanksgiving. We hope you are safe and blessed and are able to at least enjoy some time of rest and relaxation. With that said, we'll say goodbye and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Liberty.
Thank you.